item 7, which is the Corporate Equalities Update. Can I ask Zoe to present the report? Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. For the purpose of the recording, I'm Zoe Edwards, Consultation Engagement and Equalities Manager. The purpose of the update is to inform Cabinet Committee and Employee Relations of the progress made in implementing the Council's equalities and inclusion commitments during the 2024-25 period, as outlined in the Equalities Update attached as Appendix 1. So this document is not intended to serve as a formal report. It is an internal update from the Equalities Manager, summarising progress to date against the Strategic Equality Plan. The formal action plan update will be presented to Cabinet Committee in November 2025. So this update highlights steps taken across the organisation to promote equality and inclusion, as outlined in the Strategic Equality Action Plan. And some of the key developments include the launch of new staff network groups, including disability, LGBTQ+, menopause and menstruation groups, and the Welsh Language Staff Forum. So we have ongoing partnership work with external bodies, including the Community Cohesion Network, Arwen Cultural Trust, and Proud Councils. Also ongoing work with the Anti-Racist Wales Action Plan Regional Forum, which are to list just a few. So finally, if I can take you to the recommendation that Cabinet Committee Equalities and Employee Relations notes this internal update from the Equalities Manager, summarising the progress to date against the Strategic Equality Plan. Thank you.
Thank you, Zoe. Can I have a mover and a seconder before I go to questions, please?
Happy to move, Chair.
Thank you.
Happy to second report, Chair.
Thank you, Leader. So that's moved in seconds. Can I go to Councillor Good, please, for the first question?
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Zoe, for the update. I just wondered if, actually bringing it back to part of the earlier discussion in the meeting, whether these new groups perhaps could be an opportunity to find that sort of richer information from members of staff so that we can join that loop. You know what I mean? I think that would be a really positive thing. Could I also say, though, that, I know that these staff networks have been tried before and they haven't always worked due to lack of attendance or lack of sign-up, and I know that that's an issue. And I think it's really encouraging that we are still trying to do that, and I think we need to ensure that they are led by members of staff and that there's buy-in from members of staff. But I think it's also an opportunity, and I would encourage the Cabinet member responsible maybe to perhaps attend some of these, because I think it is important that they feel that the elected members in this building are just as invested in this as officers in this building. So I think, it seems like a good opportunity for us to make sure that the staff feel like we're listening and we're there to hear any concerns they have. So I just wanted to highlight that. Thank you, Chair.
Again, Councillor Good, you've nicked my question. I have offered to attend these groups, and I think what I've said to Zoe is to ask the group if they would mind me attending. And I think it's really, really important as elected members, we do listen. And like exactly linking it to the first report that we had, we can get wealth of information from staff. How is it? What's working, what's not working, what do we need to change? But I think it's really important. It's led not by officers, it's led by staff so they can feel safe. So over to you, Zoe.
I completely agree. When Councillor Good mentioned that earlier, that's exactly what I thought. These forums are an ideal place for those discussions. So definitely something we can take forward. And yeah, the groups have been really positive. Have been led mainly by myself currently, but I'm hoping that as we're more established and time goes on, staff will be more comfortable to take them forward themselves. But at the moment, I've found it really beneficial, getting to know different individuals, offering my support, and that's been really good learning point for me. So I've been happy to do that. Thank you.
Thank you, Zoe. Again, take back to them if they, like I said before, I'm more than happy to attend any of the groups.
Yeah, I know. We definitely had that discussion, and I will take that back. Thank you.
I can't see any more hands. It's been moved and seconded. All in agreement with the report? Thank you. So we'll move on to the next agenda item, which is item 8, signing of the Disability Employment Charter and the Anti-Racism Charter. I'll pass over to Zoe. It has taken us a couple of years to get here, but it's good to see it's on the agenda. Thank you, Zoe.
Sorry, Councillor Farr, I'm actually going to do this one, if that's okay. So for the record, I'm Anya Richards, Group Manager for Comms and Public Affairs. I work with Zoe. Equality sits in our area, so that's I'm taking this paper. So I'd like to introduce this report, which seeks to approval for the Council to pledge commitment to the Disability Employment Charter and to the Unison Anti-Racism Charter. The Disability Employment Charter at Appendix 1 is set out in the report, sets out a series of proposals aimed at increasing the number of disabled people in meaningful employment, and the Anti-Racism Charter set out at Appendix 2 in the report is developed in collaboration with the Welsh Government and various equality bodies and supports public sector organisations like ours to actively tackle racism and create inclusive workplaces. So signing these charters will demonstrate the Council's commitment to fair and inclusive employment practices and very much aligns and builds upon the Council's existing equalities agenda. So I therefore take the committee to the recommendation that members approve the signing of both charters, the Disability Employment Charter and the Anti-Racism Charter.
Thank you. Again, can I... Deputy?
Thank you very much. Thank you, Chair. Thank you very much, Anya, for the report. I'm happy to formally move. I think the question that I have is, we've already seen today how much work we do around the equalities agenda already, particularly with our workforce. So how are we going to measure any success in relation to these charters? Because I don't want us to sign charters that we then don't actually do anything from. So how are you going to feed that back to us as a measure of those successes? You know, what's that going to look like, please? Because I can't see anything in here that will tell me that. Thank you.
Yeah, that's a good question, Deputy Leader. Zoe may wish to add, but the way I would see it is that these charters very much align and build upon the work that we're already doing. That work is reported in the annual SEP action plan, and I would see it being reported there. What we would need to do is specifically, mention and address how the work also relates to both charters. Is that how you would see it? So, yeah, I would see it.
Thank you. I think Deputy's got another question.
I do, yes, please. So I'm very conscious that it's really difficult to sit in a place where there's racism or any I can't even think of the word that I want, discrimination for any characteristic. It's really hard to sit in that place and challenge it. What support are we giving our staff in order to educate them and give them an opportunity to practice challenging in an appropriate manner? Because I think that's we don't want to cause any more tensions in the workplace, but it's quite right and proper that we do challenge appropriately. So what support are we actually offering staff in order that they develop those skills to be able to do it effectively and politely and with some understanding and empathy, I want to say, because it's education. That's what we need. Thanks very much.
Zoe, going to come back to that?
Yeah, just to add to that, really, I suppose we currently we're working with the Anti-Racist Wales Action Plan Coordinator, who are able to provide us with a lot of support and guidance on, like you say, how best to support staff. So that's ongoing work with our team and also human resources. So that's something that we've got ongoing discussions around on how we can best support staff with those matters.
Thank you. Can I have a seconder, please?
Happy to second, Chair.
Thank you. I can't see any more questions. It's been moved and seconded. All in favour? Aye. Thank you very much. Moving on to agenda item 9. That's the annual Welsh Standard Review. And Zoe, is that you taking me through that? Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. So the purpose of this report is to inform Cabinet Committee, Equalities and Employee Relations of the content and approach taken with the Council's Welsh language standards and how we continue to ensure that we comply with the standards for the financial year 2024-2025. So the Welsh language standards give Welsh speakers improved enforceable rights in relation to the Welsh language. The Council received its final compliance notice on the 30th of September back in 2015, which outlined 171 standards requiring compliance by us. So these specific standards require the Council to produce and publish an annual report in Welsh by the 30th of June each year, which we've done every year, and that's published via our website. The Council's Welsh Language Standards Annual Report covers the period 1st of April 2024 to the 31st of March 2025. This will be published on our website by the 30th of June, and the report is attached as Appendix 1. The report outlines how the Council has complied with the standards during the period, and it also documents any progress and new compliance developments. In addition to the information specified in Section 3.2, updates on equality impact assessments, customer contact and promotional activities have also been included. So if I could just take you down to the recommendation, which is that Cabinet Committee Equalities and Employee Relations notes this report on the progress made during the year in meeting its Welsh language duties. Thank you.
Thank you, Zoe. Councillor Capros.
Thank you, Chair. Happy to move the report. I have a number of questions, so I'll just ask them in a couple of blocks if that's okay. I don't see any other hands up. Oh, there we go. Spoke too soon. Okay, so I'll just start then. So I wonder if you can tell us how the Council is ensuring compliance with all 171 Welsh language standards across departments, and whether you think we have robust enough monitoring mechanisms to ensure we identify and address non-compliance. I wonder if you could tell us what targeted strategies are being implemented to increase the number of staff who provide services in Welsh, especially in our high volume and frontline services. And I was wondering if you could tell us how are we promoting and normalising Welsh use with non-fluent staff, and what success have we seen from meet and greet sessions and Welsh language awareness initiatives?
Thank you for your block of questions. I'll try and answer in parts. So how we ensure we comply, we do have advice for staff and employees on the intranet on all of the compliance standards and how we need to meet each standards. And I think staff, because of how long these requirements have been in place, staff are fully aware of the bilingual services we need to offer. But I do have a Welsh language mailbox which I manage. I say within the team, there's not a big team, there's two of us currently. So to myself, and that's regularly monitored, and we get staff queries through that, which I'm always happy to support. And that's ongoing work really with the Welsh Language Commissioner's Office. So we got quite good communication and relationships with the Communications Office. They regularly contact us. They have slightly changed how they deal with customer complaints, which on reflection is probably a much better way. So rather than the complaint just being delivered via an email to us, we now have contact with the Commissioner's Office. And they will look to help us resolve the complaint internally before taking a formal action. So that's ongoing work between the team and the Welsh Language Commissioner's Office. So that's been positive. Can't remember the next part of your question.
Sorry, yeah, it was just about non-fluent Welsh speakers and how we promoting use and what success we've had from the meet and greet sessions and Welsh language awareness initiatives.
In the report, there is some information on the courses that have been attended and the levels of attendance there. So you'll see that in the report. We regularly have, I did mention earlier, we've got the Staff Network Welsh Language Forum, and that's regularly promoted via Bragendas. And in that message, it is clear that you don't have to be a Welsh speaker, whether you've got bare minimum Welsh language skills and you just want to come along and pick up some meet and greet skills, that's also an opportunity to do that as well. So yeah, and like I say, the uptake of that has been really successful. So yeah, I'm really pleased with that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Chair. Would you like me to continue, or would you like to bring?
I'll bring
Elaine in?
Councillor Wensley in.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. There was a couple of questions I've got on this, and obviously Councillor Kaparis has already covered some of the questions I had, and we've also covered some of this in the earlier section. But I noted particularly that we haven't got a Welsh language officer at the moment. Is that still the case? And what efforts are we doing to recruit, etc., on that? And then the other questions I've got are about if we've got a person who is trying to use the language of Welsh for their comments and they come through to the switchboard. Obviously, we've got the answers, etc. But how quickly will they get a Welsh language reply? And how quickly are they going to be able to get their question that they've got resolved? Because obviously there will be a delay in trying to get hold of a Welsh language speaker usually.
Thank you for your questions, Councillor. I'll just answer one of them, which is around the recruitment of the Welsh language officer. Just to say that my area is subject to a restructure, a forthcoming restructure, so that will be addressed within that restructure. I can't say more at this time because it's not something that is live and active yet.
Is that okay, Councillor? Yeah.
Go to the second question on the contact with the 643 number.
Yeah, certainly. Obviously, I can't give too much detail on customer services and their time frames, but what I can tell you from experience of working within that department is, like you mentioned, the 643 line. So all of the telephony systems are bilingual. So the customer can select, that's the first option, is their language preference from the offset, and then each message individually is recorded bilingually by myself. And so once they go through to that department, all department message recording systems are bilingual. Welsh should be first and then English, and staff are all aware of this, and that protocol is on the intranet. We're not lucky enough to have Welsh speakers in every department, and I think we know, and we've discussed about the recruitment issues around Welsh speakers and how we can improve on that, and that is something that we are actively trying to improve on, but unfortunately we just haven't got that level of Welsh speakers. But there is a bilingual service in place, so a translation service will be undertaken, and that should be an instant translation. There shouldn't be a time delay on that. Thank you.
Thank you, Zoe. Leader, please.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Zoe. The question I got, and I'm just trying to get clarity, I'm on paragraph 3.3, and it regards documents, letters, and any publicity material we use. Which ones have Welsh versions made available, or which ones are automatically printed in Welsh? I think in particular, council tax demands, I think they automatically used to be, I'm not sure if they still have a Welsh version go with them. Just from a corporate point of view, just trying to understand where we are as an authority, which documents are automatically produced in Welsh and sent out, which ones are made available in Welsh, and how that is dealt with across the board in a corporate sort of manner. Thank you.
I can say as far as I'm aware, all documents sent out to the public, unless they've specified their language preference, are sent out bilingually. So any public documents sent out by the authority will be done bilingually.
Come back, Leader.
Thank you. Yeah, that's what I was not clear on. I'm not sure if we have to do that because there's a cost to that. I'm not saying we shouldn't do that. But putting an English version out saying a Welsh version is available saves 50% of the paper. If we don't have to do it. And I got to be careful how I phrase it. I'm not saying I'm against doing bilingual, but do we have a policy which, put it that way, are the 7 departments deciding not to send things out bilingually, or to send them out bilingually in different formats and different types of letters and consultation documents? How is that? I mean, what I'm saying is, do we have to provide everything printed bilingually on every document?
As per the standards, we do have to, if we don't know the language preference, we do have to send bilingually. Otherwise, we wouldn't be coherent with the standards. But there are some customers that have stated that they only require English, and if the department has got a way of recording that on the system, then we do only send English, and the same for Welsh. So if a Welsh speaker has said, I only want my documentation in Welsh, we don't need to send them bilingually, we just send the Welsh. Does that answer your question?
Yep, thank you, I think, yep. Yep, it does.
So really, it's down to the customer to state their preference. As a local authority, we have a duty to send everything out in both languages, don't we? Unless the person...
We do have a duty to send it out, but we also have a duty to ask. That's the first thing, asking the customer what is their language of choice, because obviously it could be English, Welsh or other, and then we can adhere to that then accordingly. Thank you.
Thank you, Zoe. Councillor Capros, please.
Thank you. Going back on what you said earlier about complaints, what lessons have we learned from complaints and challenges relating to the Welsh language standards this year? And how have these been used to inform service improvements? And then I wonder if you could tell me what ways are we ensuring that the provision of Welsh language medium digital and automated services are equal in quality and accessibility to English services?
I'll address your last point first. It's quite interesting you mentioned that. We've just had feedback from the Welsh Language Commissioner because they've done an audit of digital services, and so there is some work actually to be done on that, which we're picking up currently with our website team. And what they've identified is that obviously we signpost a lot to other services. So, for example, we'll signpost to .gov website quite a lot because of the working links. And then the language choices sometimes can get mixed up there. So that has been identified as a bit of joint working, really, partnership working with other organisations and how we can better that to ensure there's a smooth transition, really, from one website to another or one IT system to another. So that's ongoing work, but we'd be lucky that they've recently done a project on that, so they've been able to give some good feedback and work with us on how we can improve as an authority. So that was that one.
She got all the answers she wanted? Yep, great, thank you. Councillor Good, please.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Zoe, for the report. I just wondered what was being done to encourage elected members I dysgu yn Gymraeg, because it's a lot for everyone up there to be like, well, what are you doing about Welsh language? And none of them speak Welsh.
I can't say that I'm fully aware of what's been done to encourage that. I do know that that Learning and Development do a lot of work to try and encourage the uptake of the free Welsh language courses. I know I do encourage myself, but yeah, I don't know. I'd have to check with Learning and Development to see how often and how much of that encouragement actually goes out. So I can come back to you on that if that's okay.
Thank you, Councillor Good. And Deputy, please.
Thank you very much. That was weird. That was weird. So, first of all, thank you very much. My children are all Welsh speakers, and I'm not fortunate enough to have a brain that actually translates the information, so it's pertinent. I want to say a good translation as well, because quite often you say the wrong word, it means the wrong thing, and then the whole context of your conversation is really not very good. You said, so do residents have the choice if they only want English council tax bills, as an example, or is it a requirement legally that they have both? Because I've made a request and I've chosen English only as part of mine because I think it's an enormous amount of paper at times to have only English, and I've always got both. So that's the first thing. And if that is happening, then there's something wrong with our systems and it's not identifying that. And we could potentially save ourselves some money, especially when you look at the amount of people that actually speak Welsh in the county borough and are saying, I don't want anything in Welsh because I don't understand it. I appreciate encouraging everybody. In relation to the Welsh language offer for members, I actually tried to do it, but it was so prescriptive about when it was, and it always fell on the same day. Our calendars change all the time, and it's booked for a year in advance. So I couldn't say and guarantee that I would be at every session, which wasn't acceptable to the trainer at the time. So that's just something to note. I do have a query on 3.2, page 112, please. I don't actually understand what it means. So, blah, blah, blah. This process is also reflected when sending bilingual invitations to BCBC public meetings, events where relevant. And those meetings and events funded by BCBC, 50% or more funding. I don't understand what the 50% or more funding is in relation to. Or is that just external? Or is that other opportunities? I don't know, because it didn't make sense. Sorry. So if I could have an explanation, please.
Anya.
Sorry, Deb, I think probably is a little bit clunky, but it means this specifically refers to events that are run by both BCBC and partner organisations. And so where we are, at least a 50% funder or more, then everything would have to be produced fully bilingually.
Thank you, Deb. Over to you, Councillor Capros.
Thank you. Final two questions. In section 8.3, given the complaint regarding the Welsh version of the website not being updated with the emergency closure of recycling centres, what contingency plans are now in place to ensure that the Welsh language equivalents in emergency communications? And then secondly, in section 5.2, with the new awarding grants protocol now in place, can you provide an example of how a recent grant decision was adapted to mitigate negative impacts or enhance positive outcomes for the Welsh language as per standards compliance?
Thank you. On your first question, so the reason we didn't have a translation or a bilingual message, that emergency message response that we put out, it was because it was on a weekend, and the translation providers that we were using at the time, our contract wasn't for weekends. We've now got a new contract with a new translation service, and luckily they can provide that 24 hours. So wouldn't have that issue in the future, hopefully. With regards to the grant decisions, the notices don't actually come through myself. They would be individually undertaken by the teams and gone through the grants department. So I could probably get some more information from you on that, but I wouldn't have it to hand. Thank you.
Thank you. Can we ensure that, take that as an action point then, please, Zoe, to bring it back to what? Yeah?
Yeah, sure, yeah.
So the report's been moved and seconded. All in favour? Thank you very much. That's passed. So my next agenda item is urgent items. I haven't got any urgent items, so I declare the meeting closed. Thank you very much, everybody.